So we're going through the conditions of La ilaha illallah, and we have thus far gone through 5 of the conditions. We have 3 left, and inshallah ta'ala we're going to finish all 3 today, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? These are conditions that you need to come with before you even come with La ilaha illallah. If a Christian or a Jew or an atheist or a Hindu or a Buddhist or whatever else they might be, if they say La ilaha illallah, it will have no meaning, it will have no weight, it will have no value. You know why? Because they didn't come with these conditions. They didn't come with these conditions. If a Christian says La ilaha illallah, it means nothing. You know why? Because he did not come with love, which is a condition of La ilaha illallah. To love Allah and to not love anyone equal to Him. But they love Jesus equal to Allah, so they didn't come with that condition. Does that make sense? Ikhlas is another condition of La ilaha illallah, which we talk, sincerity. That you sincerely, you love Allah Azza wa Jal. And sincerely you do acts for Him, and you don't do it for anyone else except for Him. But like the Christian and the Buddhist and the Hindu, they can't say La ilaha illallah with sincerity. If they did, then they would not be doing shirk. They would not be worshipping idols or people or men besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does that make sense? So these are conditions that you and I need before we even utter La ilaha illallah. The absence of these conditions means that your La ilaha illallah has no basis. So the third condition is al-inqiyad, which means submission. You have to submit to Allah Azza wa Jal. You have to submit to La ilaha illallah and that which it necessitates. Allah said, وَأَنِيبُوا إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ وَأَسْلِمُوا لَهُ. Allah said, and turn towards your Lord and submit to Him. And submit to Him. What does it mean that you submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You hear and you obey. What is the characteristic of Banu Israel, of the Jews, the disbelievers from Banu Israel? They would hear, they would disobey. قَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَعَصَيْنَا. They would say, we heard, but we disobey. Every time Allah Azza wa Jalla would tell them to do something, what would they do? They would go in the other direction. They would go in the other direction. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them food. وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْهِ وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامَ وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَى. Allah said, we sent down this food for you from the sky. It's lovely food. It used to come from the heavens. We sent it down for you. Allah told him to eat from it. Have to show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what did they do? They wanted something else. They said, Musa, لن نصبر على طعام واحد فادع لنا ربك يخرج لنا مما تنبت الأرض من بقلها وقثائها وفومها وعدسها وبصلها. Rather, they wanted onions and things that they used to get back in Egypt. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to them, Musa said to them, قال أتستبدلون الذي هو أدنى بالذي هو خير. You want something less, low, something little, compared to something that is greater? Like what's better, food, onions that comes out of the earth, or food that Allah actually sends from the sky? What's better? That which Allah sends from the sky, right? Allah is actually Himself sending that from the sky for you. What else comes from the sky? What else came down? Rain. Quran came down like that. Allah's rahmah comes down like that. So amazing things, they come down. And then its food is coming from that same direction. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them this food so they can enjoy themselves. But what do? They wanted something other than it. They wanted something less than it. Does that make sense? And wallahi, a lot of us are like that. We're told to implement the Quran. We're told to submit to the Quran. We're told to submit to what? The Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're told to submit to the greatest methodology, which is that of the Salaf Salih. But what do? We pick things that are other than that. We don't submit to it. We want something less. Sisters, they want feminism. People, they want secularism. They want democracy. They want this, they want that. Allah gave you Sharia. Allah, He gave you His kitab. Allah gave you the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sunnah, but you want to follow the sunnah of some footballer or some vlogger or someone online or some filthy low person. You're told to follow the methodology and the path and the understanding of the Salaf Salih, but you want someone that's less than them. You want your local sheikh. No matter how righteous or lovely he might be, I'm sorry, he's not Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He's not from the Sahaba, he's not from the Tabi'een, he's not from the Atba' Tabi'een, he's not Imam Ahmad, he's not Bukhari. So you want something less. And this is the way that we are. We became very much like the children of Israel. That we want things that are lesser in value, and Allah wants something better for us. Sometimes you don't perceive how great that value is. And this is where the concept of submission comes in. You might say, look, like a sister might not be able to fathom that feminism is actually less than what the Quran is and what the Sunnah is. A guy might not be able to fathom that what the Quran wants him to do is actually greater than what he wants to do. A person might hear these quotes from the Salaf Salih and think, but what my Shaykh saying makes more sense. So to him or her, that which Allah wants, which is better, might not actually make sense in their mind. But here's where the issue of submission comes in. It doesn't need to make sense to you, my brother or sister. Your job is just to hear and obey. Your job is just to submit. I'll give you an example. In Surah Al-Baqarah at the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the last page, the last 3 ayat, Allah, He told the companions that He was going to hold them to account for even their thoughts. Even the things that they think about, they're going to be held to account. They looked at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they said, Ya Rasulullah, we can do anything for Allah's sake. Like we give up our lives, we'll go into the battlefield, we'll fight, we'll do anything. But how can we possibly control our thoughts? Like what person is there except that she will have evil thoughts every now and again? Am I wrong? They will, right? So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam became a bit upset. He looked at his companions and he said, are you going to say what the Banu Israel said? Are you going to say what the Jews said? Sami'na wa asayna? That's what you're saying. You're saying we're listening, we're hearing what Allah wants, but we're going to disobey. Allah said He's going to hold you for your thoughts. So what's your thoughts? But you're saying, you know what? I'm not going to listen. Rather, the Prophet says, say we hear and we obey. Say we hear and we obey. Now because the Sahaba, they had Iman. They didn't question, they understood. They said, you know what? This makes sense. We can't understand in our mind how and why this is going to work out for us, but it's true, Allah did tell us to do it. It's not our job to question the how, it's not our job to question the why. We were just told do this, so we're going to do it. And the moment they did it, what did Allah Azza wa Jal do? He sent down what the ulama they call the ayah of takhfif, the verse of ease. And this where the famous ayah came. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah will not hold you to account for more than that which you can burden. Allah won't hold you for that which you do not have the ability to bear. And of course, you do not have the ability to control your thoughts, right? No one's thoughts are always going to be pure. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to hold him to account for that. There's a wisdom in here, my brothers and my sisters, and can I tell you what that is? Sometimes we're struggling when it comes to elements of the deen. We struggle. It might be pornography, it might be, haram relationships, haram money, whatever it might be. You think to yourself, how am I ever going to leave this girl? Sister's thinking, how am I ever going to wear the hijab? How am I ever going to not wear makeup? How am I ever going to wear the niqab? How am I ever going to wear the jilbab? How am I going to do these things? I cannot see myself doing this anytime soon. And most people, that's why when you hear them, they say, I'm not ready yet. They hear the ayah, but they disobey. I'm not ready yet. They say, I can give up music. I'm not ready yet. Not the time right now. It's like they're waiting for something magical to happen, and suddenly their iman's going to go up, and then they're going to be able to get rid of it. That's not how it works. The ulama took a powerful benefit from this. They said, no matter how hard it seems, just do it. The way that the Sahaba did it. And Allah will send the ease into your heart and give your heart the strength to be able to deal with it. The same way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave the ease to the companions through the ayah. And there's many examples like this. I'll tell you another example. When the battle of Ahzab took place. And the battle of Ahzab was a very scary battle. And Allah described this battle in the Quran in a way He never described any other battle. Allah mentioned the Sahaba that their hearts went into their throats. And they started to have, people started to have assumptions about Allah Azza wa Jal. Like, are we going to lose? Are we going to die? Are we going to get killed? Are we going to get lost now? Because all of the armies, all of the groups that were against the Prophet ﷺ, they came, they gathered round, and what did? They united around the city of Medina. Literally, they were going to eat Medina. And there were two groups of people. There were the hypocrites. The hypocrites, when they saw it, they said, Allah and His Messenger didn't promise us except deceit. When the Prophet told us, oh, you're going to get victory, you're going to win, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to conquer, they said, Allah and His Messenger lied to us. These are the hypocrites. They said, Allah and His Messenger deceived us. And then on the other hand, you have the Prophet ﷺ, who they're building a trench in this battle to protect themselves. And what's the Prophet doing? The Prophet ﷺ's got a big axe and he's smashing a big fat boulder with it. He's smashing it, striking it, saying Allahu Akbar. And he's saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And with each Allahu Akbar, with each takbir, he says, I can see the red palaces of Sana'a in Yemen, and the Muslims have conquered it. And then the Prophet said another Allahu Akbar, and he said, I can see the white palaces of Qisra, the Persian emperor, and the Muslims have conquered it. And then he said Allahu Akbar again, I can see the palaces of Rome, and the Muslims have conquered it. So the hypocrites are thinking, he is lying. What do you mean conquering Sana'a and Persia and Rome? What do you mean conquering these places? We're about to get eaten alive by all of these people around us. So they say, Allah and His Messenger, they lied to us. Like in the Sahaba who were believers. The Sahaba are believers. Allah said when they looked outside at the army, what did they do? فَزَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. Looking at the army increased their iman. What? Looking at the army increased the iman? Looking at a ravaged, savage army, 10,000 people surrounding your city, and these small amount of Sahaba with little strength and ability at the time, they're looking and the iman's going up. It's going up. What's making the iman go up? The submission. They said, no. Allah and His Messenger never lied to us. The Prophet said we're going to conquer Rome. The Prophet said we're going to conquer Persia. We're going to conquer it. Don't worry. We're ready. Get the weapons. Line up. Get the army ready. So they were ready to fight. They submitted. And because they submitted, they gave in. Allah, He made the iman go up. Allah gave them the ease. And that's what you need, right? If you're trying to break up with a girl and you're struggling, you're trying to get rid of music, you're struggling, you're trying to leave some haram money and you're struggling, it's because your iman is low. The iman goes up when you submit. The iman goes up when you submit. Even if you can't see the value, the benefit in it, there is a value and benefit. So what did Allah Azza wa Jal do? He sent a wind. He sent a wind so strong that the people couldn't even light a fire. If you can't light a fire, you can't stay hot and you can't cook food. If you can't cook food, what happens? You can't eat. If you can't eat, what happens? You're malnourished. Can you fight? You die. Your animals start dying because the animals can't eat nothing. So then what happened? Allah, He sent the wind. And all of the armies went back with their tail between their legs. لا يعلم جنود ربك إلا هو. Nobody knows the army of Allah except for Him. He sent the wind. Allah will support you somehow, some way. Allah will support you somehow, some way. But you have to submit. You have to give in. You have to say, you know what, Allah, I'm ready to hear and obey. I'll give you another example. Again, at the time of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, there was the treaty of Hudaybiyah when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam saw a dream, and in his dream he saw that he was going to do Umrah. So he took his companions in Ihram and they went to do Umrah. When they went to Mecca, they told him, you are not allowed to come inside of here. The Quraysh stopped them, they made them sign a treaty. The treaty had clauses in it that were very harsh for the Muslims, very humiliating it seemed for the Muslims, where the Muslims had to turn over anyone who came to them from Mecca, and they had to return them back to the Quraysh, and they didn't let the Prophet ﷺ's name be written as Rasulullah. They said, we don't know Rasulullah. Who is this Rasul? If we thought you were Rasul of Allah, we wouldn't be having this issue. We wouldn't be fighting you. Right, Muhammad? That's how we know you as. And Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu anhu, he looked at the Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, like, I can't. Messenger of Allah, how am I going to write out Rasulullah? How am I going to erase that? I can't erase that. You are the Rasul of Allah. How can I erase that? And the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he made it happen that way with the erase. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. At the beginning, the Prophet wrote, they said, what is this Rahman? What's this Rahim? We don't know no Rahman Rahim. We know Allah. Just write Bismillah. We don't know no Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. They're insulting Allah. So they erased that from the clause. Wallah, it was a very, very, very difficult contract. And not only that, the Muslims are humiliated. And there was a Sahabi called Abu Jandal, radiallahu anhu, who at that time, he just escaped Mecca. His dad had him tortured and oppressed and shackled and chained in his house. And he ran over, he heard the Prophet ﷺ outside the city, he escaped and he came to the Prophet ﷺ outside Mecca. And as soon as he came, the man who was from the kuffar signing the contract with the Prophet, his name was Suhail ibn Amr. He was the father of Abu Jandal who just ran away. He said, you have to hand back any one of ours that, even if they're Muslim, they leave Mecca and they go to you. And he said, the first one that you're going to give back is my son Abu Jandal. Give it back to me. Imagine, he's still got the chains on him. He's still got the scars on him. And the Prophet ﷺ said, take him back. That's the deal. That's the deal. Take him back. Everyone's confused. Umar ibn Khattab is confused. Thinking, what? We can't give him back. We can't give him back. Umar's going over to, in the middle of the drama, he's going over to Abu Jandal. He's saying, listen, just let me know and I'll strike him. Like, just take my sword and just kill him. Just get out and done with him. We're not going to send you back. You're our brother. We can't send you back. But the Prophet is being told to agree to all of this from Allah. Sahaba are confused. They're not seeing how is this beneficial for us. But the Prophet's being told from Allah to do this. He's been told, go ahead with it. Go ahead with it. He's been told, go ahead with it. That day was so tormenting for the Sahaba, so embarrassing, so hard, that they had to give their own brother Abu Jandal back. That later on, some of the Sahaba, like Sahal ibn Hunayf, they didn't refer to, we call that the day of Hudaybiyah, right? We know about that incident as the incident of Hudaybiyah, right? Some of the Sahaba called it the incident of Abu Jandal. First Hudaybiyah because of how big Hudaybiyah was, right? The treaty, the contract, and what happened after. But for them, some of the Sahaba would refer to it, Yawm Abu Jandal, the day of Abu Jandal. That's how much it got to them. And the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba never disobeyed the Prophet, ever. Ever. They always listened. But the one time where obeying the Prophet ﷺ was hardest for them was on this day. Because remember, they're in Ihram because they came for Umrah, right? But if you're in a state of Ihram, you can't get married, you can't, have intimacy with your wife, you can't cut your nails or your hair, you can't wear fitted clothes, you're stuck. Unless you come out of Ihram. And the way to come out of Ihram is to do the pillars of Umrah, and then what you do? You do halqa taqsir. You either shave your head or you cut your hair. So the Prophet ﷺ said the only way to get out of this Ihram right now is shave your heads. Shave your heads. And this was the first time the Sahaba, they didn't disobey, but they were just confused. They just kind of stopped. Like, whoa. Like, shave our heads? Like, we just got violated. Or they wanted to fight. They were like, we can't go back like this. They violated us. So the Prophet became stressed, so he went inside the house and his wife, Salama, radiyallahu anha. What's Salama's real name? Who could tell me? Put your hand up. Who could tell me? Who's Salama furthermore? Who's Salama? Huh? But who is she to you? She's your mum, right? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wives are our mothers. Well, mothers are the believers, right? Question. So what's your mum's name? What's your mum's name? What's Salama's name? Is her name? Or is that her daughter's name? Sorry, is Salama her name or her daughter's name? Huh? Yeah, her daughter's Salama, right? So what's her name? Is your mum, bro? Huh? Who said it? Who's talking, bro? Ralph, what is it? Jinn around. What'd you say? Did you look it up here online? It's Hinda. Yeah. What's Habiba's real name? Does the Prophet ask, what's her name? Homework for next week. What's Habiba's name? Is your mum? What's your mother's name? It's embarrassing to not know this, huh? What's your mother's real name? Habiba. Anyway, the Prophet ﷺ, his wife Salama radiallahu anha, she came to the Messenger ﷺ and she said, Messenger of Allah, she said, shave your hair first and they'll listen to you. When they see you shave your hair and they know that you're serious, they'll follow through with it. They'll follow through. They're just like, maybe you're in a bit of a shock right now. Shave your hair and then they'll shave their hair after. So then the Prophet ﷺ took his wife's advice. He went outside and he ordered for his hair to be shaved. The moment the Sahaba saw the Prophet ﷺ's hair being shaved, they all went and grabbed the razors and tried to shave their heads, and it was so much that the Prophet it would look like they were going to cut themselves. They would just shave their heads quick, because they're not going to disobey. Never going to disobey. So no matter how hard that was, how difficult that was, what did the Sahaba do? They obeyed. And they went back and they followed that treaty. Sometimes they had to send Muslims back to Mecca. But what did Allah say? Allah said, Inna fatahna laka fathan mubina. Allah said, that day, when this whole issue is happening, Allah said, we've given you a massive, clear victory. What do you mean victory? What victory is this? We're getting sent back. Our brother just got taken. We got violated. Our messenger got insulted. Allah got insulted. And this is a victory? Yeah, because that treaty later on, I don't want to go into this to the story because then it's going to become long. But that treaty was the reason why the Muslims ended up taking over Mecca 2 years later. 2 years later, the whole Muslims went over and they conquered Mecca and they took over it with no bloodshed. And that man Suhail ibn Amr and Abu Sufyan and the same people which were opposing those things, themselves became Muslim. So you don't know where it's coming from. My brother, my sister, the issue is you have to hear and obey. So when you say La ilaha illallah, what you're saying is, Allah, I'm going to obey you now. I'm going to listen to you, Ya Allah, and I'm going to obey you now. I'm going to do what? I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to obey you. Alaykum salam. Okay, the seventh condition. The seventh condition is qubul, acceptance. The seventh condition is qubul, which is acceptance. You have to accept La ilaha illallah. Now, as dalil, إنهم كانوا إذا قيل لهم لا إله إلا الله يستكبرون. The people, Allah said, the kuffar, if it said to them La ilaha illallah يستكبرون, they become arrogant. They're not accepting it. They deny it. They don't accept it. Question, what's the difference between acceptance and submission? Who can tell me? Yes, Akhi.
Submit, you can do the outward action, that prayer with pleasure, everything's salah.
Say that again?
You can, like say for example, if you're a hypocrite, you can do all the salahs, outwardly you're doing it, you're praying pleasure, everyone in the masjid, but then you don't accept it in your heart.
Lovely. Allahumma barik. Where did you learn that from?
Online.
MashaAllah.
On your...
Oh, you done it on the knowledge college. MashaAllah. Allahumma barik. That's the answer. So submit. The one before was submit, right? I can make you submit, grab you by the head, put you down, say, hey, listen to me. Outwardly, you're submitting to me, you're doing what I want. But in your heart, is your heart in line with your body right now? Does your heart want this? You're being forced. That's what the hypocrites were like. They would do it because they just knew that if we don't come to the masjid and pray, we're going to get violated, we're going to get finished. We're going to get dragged out of the city, we're going to get exposed. And they wanted to try and destroy Islam from the inside. So what did they do? They submitted. Yes, they did. The adhan would come, they would come running. But they would struggle when it comes to Fajr and Isha. They would come lazy as well. But I'm saying they would come to the masjid. They'd come. But in their hearts, they haven't accepted it. But the believer, his body submits and his heart also submits. The submission of the heart is called acceptance. It's called qubul. So the submission is an outward action and the qubul is a internal action. Does that make sense? And the last and final condition is kufr. You have to do kufr. You look stressed, akhi. Say that again?
I don't understand.
You don't understand?
What you just said.
You have to do kufr.
I know what kufr is.
Yeah. So you need to, in this instant, become a kafir.
For what?
You tell me. Because if it's la ilaha illallah, you should know. Otherwise, we should be stressed about you. He's looking at me stressed. I should be stressed about him. This part of la ilaha illallah, bro. You have to do kufr. Look at him, he's stressed. He's like. Any sisters want to help? Do you want to contribute, sisters? Yes. So what do you do kufr of? Okay, sisters don't want to help.
You do what you used to do.
Yes, you have to do kufr of kufr. Allah said, وَمَن يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ. Anyone who disbelieves in false gods. Allah told you, وَمَن يَكْفُرْ. Do kufr. Allah is telling you. Anyone who does kufr of taghut, false gods, وَيُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ, and then he believes in Allah, فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا. Then he has hold on to a strong connection between him and Allah. So you have to do kufr of these false gods. You have to do kufr. And you have to do kufr of not just the false gods. All these false gods. And these gods are many things. These tawaghit are a lot. Could be people, could be ideologies, could be statues, whatever the hell it might be. You have to disbelieve in them. What's the evidences? I just gave you one from Surah Al-Baqarah. وَمَن يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا وَاللَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Look, another hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man qala la ilaha illallah wa kafara bima yu'badu min dunillah." The Prophet said, anyone who says la ilaha illallah wa kafara, and then he does kufr of what? Ma yu'badu min dunillah. Anything that's worshipped besides Allah, then what happened to him? حرم ماله ودمه وحسابه على الله. He's a Muslim basically. That's a real Muslim.
What ayah in Surah
Surah Al-Baqarah 256. The ayah right after Ayatul Kursi. Look at this example of Ibrahim. قد كانت لكم أسوة حسنة في إبراهيم والذين معه إذا قالوا لقومهم إنا براء منكم ومما تعبدون من دون الله كفرنا بكم. Look at this. This is very common in the Quran. The Muslims are doing kufr. What are they doing kufr of? Allah said there is a beautiful example in Ibrahim for you. إذ قالوا لقومهم, when he said to his people, إِنَّا بُرَآءُ مِمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. He said, I am free from that which you worship besides Allah. كَفَرْنَا بِكُمْ. I do kufr of all of you. I do kufr of this. وَبَدَا بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةُ وَالْبَغْضَاءُ أَبَدًا حَتَّى لَا تُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَحْدًا. He said, now it has started between you and me and you, enmity and hatred. I hate you. I have enmity towards you. And it will never end until you start to believe in Allah. حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَحْدًا. Until you start to believe in Allah alone. So Ibrahim is a beautiful example for you. You have to do kufr. You can't. And this ayah is very powerful, brothers and sisters, because it links back to the issue of love. Like I told you, the eighth one, I told you at the beginning, right? This eighth one kind of falls into all of the others as it is anyway. That's why a lot of the ulama don't make the conditions of la ilaha illallah 8, they make it 7. But I think it's good to take Ibn Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala's version here, the 8, because it gives you a bit more perspective. The 8th one is powerful because it gives you a bit more insight into what la ilaha illallah requires of you. You see, disbelieving in something and hating something go hand in hand. And believing in something and loving something go hand in hand. What's the proof for this? I told you, Allah said, وَمَن يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا. That anyone who disbelieves in false gods and believes in Allah has held on to a strong connection between him and Allah. There's a strong connection. Yeah? In another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, أوثق عرى الإيمان الحب في الله والبغض في الله. The highest branch of Iman is to love for Allah's sake and to hate for Allah's sake. So one we're told that the strongest connection between Allah and you, which is the highest branch of Iman, is what? To disbelieve in false gods and to believe in Allah. Then another hadith you're being told the highest branch of Iman is to love for Allah's sake and to hate for Allah's sake. So the hate and kufr go together. When I disbelieve in kufr of Christians, when I disbelieve in the kufr of the atheists, I also hate it. You can't disbelieve in something and not hate it. Allah is trying to tell you kufr of something and hate of something are hand in hand. And iman in something and love for something are hand in hand. Does that make sense? So I have to love who Allah loves and I have to hate who Allah hates. Now what are the three things that Allah loves? Tawheed, Sunnah, and obedience to Allah ta'ah. And what are the three things that Allah hates? He hates kufr. And He hates what? He hates bid'ah. And what does He hate? So kufr, shirk, 1, 2, bid'ah, 3, disobedience. So not only does He hate these things, He hates the people of these things. Yes. And obedience. And then the other things that Allah hates, each one is the opposite of the other. So the opposite of tawheed is shirk, and the opposite of sunnah is bid'ah, and the opposite of obedience is disobedience. So you don't have to just love tawheed and sunnah and obedience, you have to love the people of tawheed and the people of sunnah and the people of obedience. And not only do you just hate shirk and bid'ah and disobedience, but you also have to hate the people of disobedience and shirk and bid'ah. You have to hate them. The ones who you hate completely are the kuffar, but the ones that you hate, in proportion to the evil they have, is those who are Muslim but they have evil in them. The greater the evil, the more they hate, the less they love. Bid'ah is a very big evil, so I hate him in accordance to that. Does that make sense? Now the question always comes to mind, does that mean I have to go and beat up everyone on the streets that's a kafir or a mubtadi' innovator, or does that mean I have to spit on their faces? Absolutely not. Because people misunderstand and they don't understand the correlation between hate and good manners. Just because you hate someone, does that mean you now are unjust to them? Does that mean you have bad manners to them? No, so what did Allah Azza wa Jalla say in the Quran? He said, لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروا إليهم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين. Allah said Allah had not prevented you ever. Allah does not prevent you from being just to those who do not try to kill you and who do not try to remove you from your hands. Rather, Allah said, Inna Allah yuhibbul muqsitin. Allah loves those who do just. Rather, Allah said, An tabarruhum, be good to them.
That applies for family as well, with non-Muslims.
Oh, family is an exception to the rule. I always forget to mention this.
Mum, dad.
I always forget to mention this. Sorry, Jazakallah khair for reminding me. I always forget to mention this. Subhanallah. I can't upload this video then. Because I always forget to mention this. The mum and dad and the family is an exception. Of course, you're not. If you're a reaver and you've got non-Muslim mum and dad, of course you can't hate them, man. Allah said, وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. Allah said, accompany them in this dunya in good. You be good to your mum and dad. It's a difference now. It's a relationship. It's family. You can't hate. You can't cut off your mum like that. How are you ever going to give her da'wah? Does that make sense? And of course, you have an emotional connection there. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wife, Habiba radiyallahu anha. Or was it, it was this ayah came down on, if I'm not mistaken, Asma bint Abi Bakr radiyallahu anhuma, Abu Bakr's daughter, when she heard her mum was trying to get in touch with her from Mecca. I think she was either coming to Medina or she was asking for something, and the Prophet told her, basically do it. And Allah sent down this ayah, وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. Be good to your parents. Accompany them in this world in good, even though they're disbelievers. Go to your mum's house, spend time with her. How are you, mum? Do all of the mum-dad stuff with parents. Parents are exception to the rule. because they're your parents. You got a brother who's a non-Muslim, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, don't put your own iman at risk, but you go to them, show them love, spend, you know what I'm saying? It's your brother. What can you do? You have that connection. Our religion is not like impractical like that. Does that make sense? Hope that answers your question, huh? Inshallah. The sisters don't have any questions, right? Okay, lovely, lovely. Yes, Akhi.
What about more distant family?
More distant family?
Like cousins?
Akhi, family ties is an important thing. You have to keep family ties. A person who cuts off family ties, that person is a major sin. You have to cut off family ties. You have to keep ties with family, even if it's difficult. But don't put your iman at risk. No one's saying, like some people say, oh, if I don't go to the wedding where there's going to be music and free mixing, I'm cutting off family ties. No, you're not. No, you're not. Go see them before the wedding, after the wedding. If the wedding is going to make you sin, don't go to it. Does that make sense?
Yo,
what's going on, bro?
yeah, I got the thing.
What? How much is in there?
20 mil.
You being serious?
Yeah, hold that. It's yours now.
You guys are probably wondering how this dusty looking camera is worth 20 mil. Let me break it down for you. About 6 years ago, some brothers and sisters gave us about £600 in order for us to purchase this camera to make da'wah videos. 6 years later, alhamdulillah, we made well over 1,000 videos and we reached over 20 million plus views on YouTube alone without taking into account all the other social media platforms that we're on. So those people at the time when they gave that money, I don't think they had any idea that that £600 that they gave was gonna go towards a camera that would reach 20 million people who watch videos and they changed their lives after having watched them, who watched these videos and started praying, who watched these videos and accepted Islam. Can you imagine if they were sincere, the kind of reward that they're gonna get on the day of judgment, inshallah ta'ala? But now here's the issue. This camera is 6 years old. I mean, there's cracks in it, it's breaking, it's well past its sell-by date. We're trying to take things up to the next level. In order to do that, we need a new camera. In fact, we need more than one. We need more equipment. We need to actually hire a bigger media team. But all of this stuff, it comes with expenses, it comes with costs. And over the next 6 years, inshallah ta'ala, we're looking to reach well over 20 million people. Now look, I'm gonna be direct with you. I'm about to ask you for some money to put towards the da'wah for the sake of Allah. But before I do that, I wanna tell you some figures, some statistics to show you the kind of reward that you might be looking at, inshallah, if you come with sincerity and the donation. Just take a look at the kind of numbers we have over the last 90 days. Over the last 90 days, we received over 1.4 million views on our YouTube channel alone. That's 466,000 views every 30 days. That's 15,555 views per day. That's right. You could be in your sleep, sleeping 6, 7, 8 hours a day, however much you sleep, and you're just earning a reward, inshallah ta'ala. Why? Because you gave a bit of money that went towards a very big project. Now, with that 15,000 odd views a day, if you average that out across 6 years, which is the lifespan of this camera, do you know how much reward that is, inshallah? That's 34,065,450 views. I don't know about you, but that kind of reward, I need that in my life. This is not the kind of opportunity that we should be passing up, especially if you've got sins. The Prophet ﷺ said that giving charity wipes away sins the way that water, it extinguishes fire. So look, say no more, inshallah ta'ala. I don't feel like I should have to convince you towards giving to a project like this anymore. If you want that kind of reward, you want the da'wah to spread, you want la ilaha illallah to spread across the internet, inshallah ta'ala, then you want to give at the link below to this project. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Remember, 20 mil, yeah, and that's on YouTube alone.